So what is the Speaker Intel Engine? The Intel Engine is not some super secret database. I don't scrape the internet and store information. What the Intel Engine is, think of it as a search overlay that sits on top of Google and other search engines that make it really, really easy and fast to find information. Now, can you find what you find in the Intel Engine on your own by going to Google? Sure you could. By going to LinkedIn? Absolutely. But I think what you'll see is you'll be able to save a tremendous amount of time. So for example, one of the features I'm going to share with you is search by job function. And you might look at it and go, well, I could do that on my own, and you could. But what you don't know is that I'm running more than 400 simultaneous searches in about 1 second. So that's the huge benefit of the Intel Engine, is it helps you get information way faster than you could do on your own, and it's laser focused toward the information we care about in the speaker industry. So I'll go through the various features here. We're going to start out with the different sections, and I've organized these to be most important first. So the first section is going to be on prospecting. The second, meeting and speech preparation. And frankly, if this is all you ever use the Intel Engine for, that would be outstanding. Just the prospecting and meeting and search prep. Then we have Biz People Search, company research, additional search resources, and marketing opportunities. So let's dive in under the prospecting area. The first one is Conference Finder. And there's a number of different ways you might be able to use this. The first one is just type in an industry. So let's say you'd like to speak in manufacturing in 2023. And we can go on in-person, virtual, and speaker RFPs. In person, we can scroll down and we can find the various conferences, manufacturing conferences that are going to be held in 2023. Now, sometimes you will get a false positive, so it could be something like right here, this advanced design. This is obviously one for 2021 where they reference 2023, but in general, you're going to get some pretty good results. Now, speaker RFPs, this is really more for those speakers who are new speakers who want to get maybe video on stage, they want to get in front of people, or for speakers that do selling from the back of the room. When you're selling books, coaching, consulting, a lot of these will maybe pay a small stipend, or they'll pay your travel, your hotel. They might give you access to the trade show. That's great, because if you're selling from the back of the room, as a speaker, you get a lot of credibility, and this is where you can, at a minimum, hopefully, have a break even where you get to market yourselves. All right, moving on. One of the really cool things you can do here as well is get the add-on gig. So I use this a lot. So let's say I know that in 2022, I'm going to be speaking in Las Vegas, and I'll be speaking there in July. Manufacturing, now I'm going to take that out. Just find me a gig in Vegas in July of 2022. Let's say I know that I'm speaking on July 12th for another organization. Perfect. Here's another one. They've got their conference, Cosmoproof. We can add on an extra day, and maybe I can give them a special fee. And I know a lot of speakers that have built, some of them, 7-figure businesses just doing this. They get their regular gigs, and then they get the add-on gigs. So that is the Conference Finder area. Now the next section is called Speaker Recon. So what Speaker Recon is listen, I know what you really want is you're like, Sam, can you just give me a list of all the places that pay speakers a lot of money? And I'd love to do that. I just don't think that exists. But we can kind of backdoor into it. And that's where we use Speaker Recon. What's the power or the value of Speaker Recon is I'm going to use my best friend, Ross Bernstein. So Ross is a professional speaker, Hall of Fame speaker. And here's one thing I know. Ross doesn't speak for free. So if I can find places where Ross has spoken in the past, well, what that tells me is that that's a conference that we know pays their speakers. So pretty simple. That's why it's called Speaker Recon. Now we can go in here. We'll enter Ross's name. And we can get speaker info. We can get Ross's client list. Scroll down and see that. I can get Ross's speaker biography. What does this guy talk about? And I can get his listed fee range to make sure he's in the range we're interested in. Yeah, that's what I'd like to get. So Ross is a good speaker for us. So now I'm going to go in and look for his past presentations. Now, is this every place Ross has spoken? No, but it's enough to keep you busy for a while. So the next question you're going to ask is, well, how do I find out information about this conference? Who are the decision makers? When is it? You click on the link. As we can see, Ross has spoken here in the past. We could probably get the date of the conference, July. When do you think the conference is in 2025? Well, it's probably the first or second week in July in 2025. We kind of know when the date is. We can back out 8 months and we can figure out when we should start pitching this organization. This is a news article, so what I'm really doing by scrolling down is I'm trying to find a contact us. I try to make things easy. Maybe it's here. Contact, perfect. And sometimes you get lucky. So for example, Alice is their event manager and we can get her email address. So again, you don't always have to use the engine. But let's say this wasn't here. Let's say we just get the general info at box. What do? Well, we're going to go in to speaker decision makers. We're going to get the name of the company, School Transportation News, or STN. Stay broad. First, we'll start out with STN, and then maybe over here we might type in school, because there might be other organizations that use the phrase STN, and instantly this is going to pull up the decision makers at the organization. Executive leadership, event executives, and here we go. We're going to click on here, and we are going to connect with her on LinkedIn. Now, we also want to find out what her email address is. Now, we already found it, but I want to show you the manual way of doing it as well. So we're going to go under Determine Contact Info. There's a couple of ways we can do it. The first way is option number 1, enter a company name. Email naming search 1. And in my experience, this works about 80% of the time, and it didn't work here. I'm glad it didn't, because I wanted to show you what to do. Locate a website domain. And their website is stnonline.com. We're going to grab that, Control-C, copy it, paste it into option number 2. And what we're looking for here is their email naming convention. And it looks like pretty consistently they use first name at stnonline.com. Our decision maker was Alice at stnonline.com. Once in a while, we can see if that email address exists online. I'll use me as an example just so you can see how it works. The reason I like this is sometimes if it does show up online, it will oftentimes show up right next to a phone number. That's the process. Conference Finder, Speaker Recon, Determine Contact Info. Rinse and repeat. Conference Finder and or Speaker Recon, connect with the person. Speaker conference info, find that decision maker, get their email address, rinse and repeat. What do I mean rinse and repeat? Here's my promise to you. Create a spreadsheet. Column A, name of company. Column B, conference date. Column C, decision maker. Column D, past speaker. If you follow this process, a half an hour every day, or let's say you're not going to do that. Hey, I'm speaking, I'm on the road a lot. 1 hour a week. In 1 hour, you should easily be able to come up with 20 prospects to put in that Excel spreadsheet. Now, you're not going to do it every week. Let's say you do it 40 weeks a year. That's 800 qualified prospects. And when I say qualified, because I'm using Speaker Recon, I know they pay speakers. I know when their conference is. I know who the decision makers. 800 qualified prospects. You're going to take that information, we're going to drip on those folks, we're going to call them consistently, and that is how we grow a massive 6 to 7 figure speaking business. It's not magic. Let's just, first off, you got to be a great speaker, right? Let's assume that that's already true. You're a great speaker. You've got to have good marketing material, good video. Let's assume that that's true. How do you build a 6 to 7 figure business? Consistent reaching out, calling the right prospects at the right time. What's the right time? Back out 8 months from the date of their conference. 800, 900, 1,000 prospects every year that you're going to build up this list. Heck, if you can't land 50 to 70 gigs, we got a bigger problem. That's how you do it. And the Intel engine will save you a tremendous amount of time. All right, let's go back in. One other feature in here, it's called trigger events. Now this will help us get the corporate gig. A trigger event is what's going on in another person's world where they might want to take your call. So for example, if I were to reach out to any of you and say, hi, this is Sam from Sam's Roofing Company. I'd love to come out and give you a free estimate for a new roof. What are you going to do? Delete, hang up, go away, right? But if a huge hailstorm just hit your house and water's dripping down in the kitchen, 5 minutes later I called, hey, this is Sam from Sam's Roofing Company. I'd love to come out and give you a free estimate. Well, what am I now? I'm your new best friend. In the corporate world, especially if you talk about or give workshops on programs, virtual programs, on things like leadership change, cultural change, diversity, we can find these trigger events in corporate America. What's going on in their world where there's a disruption in their company where they might need an expert like you to come in. Well, we automate that with the Intel engine. We can go find leadership change, funding activity, contracts, merger or acquisition. Anybody who's relocating or moving or going through a merger and acquisition, I guarantee you it's not going to be as smooth as they want it to be. Construction or expansion, they're growing. Let's use funding activity. We'll choose Dallas. Find me companies in Dallas that are getting funding. Now here's what I know. If you're getting funding, you're probably going to be hiring a lot of people. You're going to be dealing with a lot of generational change, cultural change, leadership change. Cybersecurity startup in Dallas raises $20 million. Soul Cyber. We're going to grab the name of the company. I'll go right to speaker decision makers. Soul Cyber, find a decision maker. And here is their executive leadership. Now when I reach out and call these folks, contact these folks, do a LinkedIn, send an email, heck, write a letter. Direct mail works great. I call it direct mail. It doesn't have to be a postcard. It could be a letter. Hey, congratulations on getting your funding. But now we're reaching out and we're incredibly relevant. Now, are these people hiring speakers? No. But when you call on a trigger event, you're finding something that's going on that you know they care about, that you have experience solving. That's the power of trigger events. Speaker decision makers, a couple other buttons in here. We can go in and find associations. So you can be very specific, so you know the name of the association, or I can even be very broad, manufacturing. And this just brings us to the association contact us page. Now, the other button on here that's pretty cool, how many times have we ever heard this? Oh, we don't pay speakers. We don't have any money. So, for example, financial planning, we can go here and look at association financials. You know what? The Financial Planning Association of Northeast Ohio, they got an entire budget of $86,000. They probably can't afford a professional speaker. These folks, they've got a $7 million budget. They can probably afford you. Now, are you going to use this often? No, probably not. It's kind of cool that you can go online and pull up an association's entire financial statements, including how much they spend on their events every year and the revenue that they get from events and membership. So that's the prospecting section. We spent most of our time on that because that's the most important thing we do as speakers. Let's dive into the other sections, meeting and speech preparation, news search. One of the things I talk about is never go to a conference, never call anybody, never prepare your presentation without knowing something that's going on in the other person's world. Because if you can reference that in your call, or I like to use this 5 minutes before I go on stage, if you can reference this before you go on stage, and it doesn't even have to be about the company, it could be their industry, whatever it is, well, that shows that you care. And you completely differentiate yourself from all the other sales people, or we've all seen these speakers, they get up on stage, hey, it's so exciting to be in front of the Real Estate Association today, and they give their canned speech, right? That's why we do news search. What's going on in their world? There's two different types of news, Google News and extended news. I'm going to use myself as an example. Most of us default to Google News. Google News is awesome, but doesn't have all of the information. So it has 1, 2, 3 articles on me. Great, helpful, nice. By the way, I'm speaking at the STN conference this year because I use the speaker Intel engine to find out who is their speakers in the past. I happen to know Ross, so I called and asked him to make an introduction. I know I've been interviewed more than 4 times. That's why I built extended news. Yeah, this is more like it. All the different articles I've been featured in. And press releases, blog posts, social media posts, videos, podcasts. So all the different places where I've been featured. The next section is industry reports. A couple of ways to use this. One, in the sales call. One of the things that it's important to remember is that in general, it's going to take between 5 and 20 contacts to actually reach somebody who's going to return your call, return your message, connect with you on LinkedIn. It's going to take 5 to 20. 90% of people give up after 3. But most people never get a response until 5 or 6. Now, does that mean that most folks are lazy? No, it's just most folks are human, right? Because what are you going to do after the third reach out? Ready to buy, want to hire a speaker? Come on, hire me as a speaker. Here's my one sheet. No, we get annoying. So one of the things that I recommend you do is called the value-added follow-up. On number 6, on number 8, on number 12, find something that you know is of value to the other person that might not have anything to do with you. So we can do that in news search, find an article that they care about their company, congratulating them on winning an award, or industry reports. We'll choose past year. The instructions, I try to put those right in the fields, word in the title. Whatever I put in here, I'll get more relevant results, but I'll get fewer of them, versus over here, less relevant, but more of them. So let's say there's a company that I'm really pitching in the construction industry, or maybe it's the Construction Association. Past year construction trend reports. And what's nice about these is these are all PDF files. So you can print them, you can send them in an email, you can attach them to a LinkedIn message. I can print them, put them in an envelope. Hey, was thinking about you. So that's how you use this as part of that value-added follow-up. Now, of course, if I was speaking in the construction industry, I'm also going to print this out. I'm going to grab some of these statistics. I'm going to incorporate them in my presentation, into my language, so I understand their world. Next section, Biz People Search. Just as the name implies, a couple of ways we can find people. I'm going to use 3M. I'm going to use a larger company. And I could choose a location. Now, I'm going to go in and click on who are the C-suite people there, the presidents, the VPs, the directors. Now, search by function, as the name implies. 3M, I'm going to stay broad. Search by function. And look at all the different functions it pulls up. And here's where this is really cool. We'll use HR and recruiting. Now, most of you are smart enough, obviously, to know to go into LinkedIn. And let's say I ask you, go try this right now. Hey, go find me people in charge of human resources at 3M. What are you going to do? You're all smart enough to go into LinkedIn, type in human resources 3M. Now, you'll get a bunch of people who used to work in human resources at 3M, but LinkedIn does a pretty good job of putting the current ones up first. So why do I need the Intel engine? Here's why. The Intel engine uses basically AI to look for all the synonyms of that specific job title. So for example, you know how to go in, type in human resources 3M, and you'd find Laura here because she has the phrase human resources as part of her job title. But you'd completely miss Jennifer because she has nothing related to human resources in her job title. You would have gotten Ellen, but you would have missed Erin because she doesn't go by human resources, she goes by HR. You would have missed Lisa, in charge of global executive recruiting. It quickly will look for all the different synonyms related to those specific words. So let's say you're an expert in sales. You do sales training, sales workshops. These are the people who are going to hire you. Revenue cycle solutions, VP of sales, regional sales manager. Again, helps you get to the right person fast. So that's search by function. Now, Power Search allows you to do some pretty cool searching. I'm going to give you a story of my daughter. I think it's a good example of how you might use Power Search. So my daughter, she wants to get into fashion marketing in New York. Now that's pretty tough at any time, but she graduates May of 2020. Good luck, honey, getting a job in fashion marketing in New York during the heart of COVID. She does what all of her advisors tell her to do. Reach out on LinkedIn to marketing and advertising people in the fashion industry in New York and see if they'll give you an informational interview. Well, she sent out more than 100 requests and got the grand total of 0 responses. The strategy is people do business with people who they like. People do business with people who they trust. All things being equal, Meaning you're an event planner. You've got 3 speakers that you're looking at. All 3 can do the job, otherwise they wouldn't be in your finalist pile, right? All 3 are going to do the job for what you're willing to pay. Otherwise they wouldn't be in the pile. People do business with people who they like, who they trust. It's providing value. It's sending those reports, sending that article, showing that you care, or having something in common. I said, Maddie, type in marketing or advertising in New York in the fashion industry. Now in college, Maddie was a Zeta Tau Alpha sorority member. In seconds, we can pull up the people who are in marketing, in advertising, in New York, in the fashion industry, who are also Zeta Tau Alphas. Maddie sent out 4 requests, but this time, instead of saying, hi, I'm a college student, I'd like to do an informational interview, it's, hi, I'm a fellow sorority sister, and I would love to get your thoughts on marketing and advertising in the fashion industry in New York. She sent out 4 requests, got 4 responses, and she has her dream job. This really, really works. How is this relevant to you? Well, maybe you're a Zeta Tau Alpha, but what else can you do? I'll show you what I can do. I'm a University of Minnesota graduate. I like to work with CEOs or owners of companies. University of Minnesota, because I'm a University of Minnesota grad. I graduated in '89. Find people around my age. Between 1980 and 1990, these are people who are my classmates. They have something in common with me. And now when I reach out to Jim, I'm not some speaker that he's never heard of. I'm a fellow alumnus in approximately the same age, approximately his graduating class. So we can talk about things that I know he experienced because I experienced the same thing. Company search. You can search by location, industry, Atlanta, manufacturing. And I know if the company's got, doing between 25 and 250 million, they can afford me and I can provide them a lot of value. Atlanta Precision Metal Forming. We're going to search by seniority, paste in the company name. Here are some of the people that we care about. Here's another thing we can do under company search. I don't think, as far as I know, there's any search tool in the entire world that does what I'm about to show you. People do business with people who they like. Phoenix, classified business search. And in seconds, I can pull up all the veteran-owned business, the women-owned businesses, minority-owned businesses, Hispanic-owned businesses, Asian-owned businesses, Native American-owned businesses in Phoenix. Company details, as the name implies. Hey, let's learn a little bit about that company. So we'll paste in that company from earlier, Atlanta Precision Metal Forming. Search company information. We'll get their company details. And if I can find a Zoom info, that's probably going to have the most accurate data, but I look at other databases as well, like Dun & Bradstreet, Rocket Reach. Now, do they have exactly 319 employees and 65 million? No, but it's close. And I know that they're large enough that they probably have a sales conference. They probably have an employee conference where I can provide some value. Company site search. Companies have their main website. When you look at their main website, what are you looking at? Well, you're looking at their marketing brochure, right? They're only telling you the information that they want you to see. A lot of companies, especially larger ones or associations, have hidden pages. These are web pages that are out there, but you're probably not going to find them on a Google search. Well, they might appear, but they might be in result 4 million because they don't really want you to find this information. It's not on their main marketing site. Well, we can use the Speaker Intel engine to mine those company websites. How do we do it? Just type in a domain name, 3m.com, employee benefits as an example. Maybe I speak about employee engagement or hiring and retaining good employees. What are the employee benefits at 3m.com? And notice that every result has the phrase employee benefits, and every single one is at 3m.com. I can sort by PDF files, spreadsheets, presentations. Here's a perfect example. I'm pretty sure you're not going to be able to find this on the main 3m.com website. That's the kind of information you can find with company site search. Existing list finder. type in a word, type in a domain name. So for example, 3m.com, we'll use them again, and choose a type of list. Find me contacts and spreadsheets, contacts and documents. Find me membership directories where someone from 3m.com, meaning they're probably their email address, exists. So I can see that these are places where somebody from 3M is in this membership directory. Let's say I'm looking for SHRM, right? Society of Human Resource Management. Let's see contacts in spreadsheets. Are there any contacts in spreadsheets with SHRM out there? And there are a lot of them. Now, is this something you're going to do every day? No, but this is something you do on a Friday when you're bored at 4:30, just to see what existing lists are out there. Documents online. I want to know information on employee engagement. Find me documents online, because if I go in and type in employee engagement into Google, what am I going to get it? Well, I'll get 80 billion search results. I don't want that. I just want PDF files, Word documents, presentations, because that's going to have relevant, objective data. Find me the phrase employee engagement, but only find me PDF files. Only find me other people's PowerPoint presentations. Meeting industry news. Here's the concept. Let's say I'm interested in the latest, greatest information on hybrid events. Now, I could go into Google and I can type in hybrid events and I'll get 80 billion places that want to sell me software to do hybrid events. I don't want that, so I'm going to go down to my local public library. I'm going to say to the librarian, hey, I'm interested in information on hybrid events. Now, is that librarian going to give me 8 million search results? No. Again, that's an online search. That librarian is going to say, hey, you know what? Here's the 5-6 publications in the meeting industry that you might care about. Read some of these. Well, what I've done is I've gone out and built a search engine that looks at only the 50 or 60 or so publications that are relevant, credible, and objectives in the meetings industry. Hybrid, and look at the publications we're looking at. MeetingsNet, TSNN, BizBash, EN. The types of publications that we know the information is credible. We can print this article, we can share it with our prospects, we can provide value to others. Speaker growth ideas. Hey, I want to know about marketing, but I don't want to know how lawyers market themselves. Let's go get some podcasts related to speaker marketing. Or let's go get some articles on speaker marketing. But look at all these great articles. And finally, marketing opportunities. Let's get the word out there. Let's say you've got a new study that you've done, and you're doing it in the manufacturing industry. Who are the key reporters in the manufacturing industry? And we can find those individuals. Find a podcast. Hey, I'd like to be interviewed. What are the top manufacturing podcasts? I'm going to reach out to these folks. I'm going to see how I might be a guest on their podcast. Same with a blog. We'll use financial services. What are the top financial services blogs that are out there? And be a guest author. I love this because what do we love as part of our introduction? What do we love to put on our website, in our email? Sam has been seen in publications all over the globe, including CNN, USA Today, Manufacturing Digest. Find the publications that are credible in the audiences that you want to reach out to. Get yourself in those publications. Become a guest author in these association magazines, trade journals, publications. We know they're all looking for great content. You be the expert. Now we can use that as the value-added follow-up. Hey, Sally, not sure if you saw the cover story today in Manufacturing Digest, but I thought you might find it valuable. Where are some manufacturing publications that are saying, please write for us? Hey, if you reached out, we'd love your content. Reach out to these organizations, write for them, use it in your branding and in your marketing. So that is the sales intel engine. I want to just quickly review. So the core area you really need to focus on is prospecting and meeting and speech prep. Like I said, if you spent an hour a week, 15 minutes a day, just going through Conference Finder, Speaker Recon, get the name of the conference, put it in your spreadsheet. What's the date of the conference? Put it in your spreadsheet. Go to Speaker Decision Makers, find the person, put it in your spreadsheet. Maybe trigger events if you like to do corporate. Determine contact info. Hey, I've got a call. I'm doing the speech. News search, industry reports. Use some of the other features as well as you need them. But if you focused on those areas and you leverage that CRM, you automated a lot of the processes of reaching out. You get that article we talked about. Send those out to the right contacts. You're not going to send it to your contacts in the financial services industry. You're going to send it to the contacts in the manufacturing industry. That's the power of this. That's why I have everything in here. But again, if you focus on the prospecting, the meeting, and speech preparation areas, that's how you're going to really leverage this and get an incredible ROI. Look forward to seeing you on the stage. Hey, happy hunting. It's a great time to be a professional speaker. Thank you.